we're locked in and back to trending towards who we need to be and who we have been. But the unselfishness and the willingness to share the ball, have that many assists on 18 on 30 baskets, guys off the bench, smaller lineup there in the second half, even with Gilmore and Amos together. I thought we played a pretty complete game other than the run that they made back at us when we just shot selection I think was great at times, but in that middle part of the first half. But like I said, just across the board, I think we see offensively we're a handful, and when we get ourselves locked in like we were today defensively, we become a pretty complete team. So, questions?
We got Mark up front too. Go ahead, Nick, and then pass it to Mark when you're done.
But you did touch on it a couple times there, but that defensive start, 19-2, and then kind of how it was executed in the counter punch in the first half, just how did that set the tone and then kind of help extend the lead for good going forward?
Yeah, I mean, that's where we need to be. I mean, that's what we've talked about. We had early in the year, before the season, where do we want to be? And this is, coaches talking, trying to be from an elite, from an offensive standpoint, if we can be top 10 in the country, which we are now. Defensively, we felt we needed to climb to be top 25 in order to be really elite. Because if you look across the country of who's in that category, it's a pretty high-powered team. So defensively, we needed to recover in the 50s, and we need to continue to grow that and get better defensively. And, every team's a little different. We don't have a specific shot blocker that would help more in the paint, so we got to do it collectively by really being disciplined in gaps and contesting shooters, knowing I thought they did a great job today of following the scouting report of where we could gap up and where we had to stay Velcro to and chase shooters. And I thought for the most part, I'll find things I'm sure on film where we had lapses, but the consciousness to shut off driving lines and gaps and rotations, we were better. We were much sharper than what we were Tuesday night.
Go ahead, Mark.
Greg, these last two games from a three-point shooting standpoint, these back-to-back probably the best of the season. Is this, as far as an execution standpoint in terms of guys getting shots, is it as good as you guys have played from a three-point opportunity standpoint, or is it just a matter of, shots falling?
Well, I think it's a combination of all of the above, Mark. I think, schematically how we've designed this and as we've made this kind of shift, so to speak, in evolution offensively, that is one area you look at analytically what we want to take advantage of. And, trade as many of those mid-range twos in for threes or plays at the rim. So it's part system, it's part players, they've got really good players that buy into it, love playing in it, understand. I think we're growing in terms of the reads within it. Excuse me. I think in years past maybe we were a little robotic and mechanical in it, and we've become more fluid, so it becomes more organic, and then we throw in some wrinkles here and there to try to keep defenses off balance. But I think it's probably all those elements that you talked about, Mark. It's an unselfish group that doesn't care who gets the credit, and it's a really talented team that have a lot of weapons that can shoot it. It's pretty much everybody we put on the floor is a legit threat from three.
Michael.
Bryce Williams can really get going today, and largely the last couple games, you've been able to keep lead perimeter guys from going at least for a half. I guess what went into that full game effort, and what have you kind of been seeing over the last couple games, and the way that you're able to take away some of those lead guys?
Well, I think we've gotten. It starts with on the ball and getting good ball pressure, and then it's as I mentioned before, following the scouting report of that individual or that team or with the lineup that's on the floor that you have to defend. I think our 4s and 5s have gotten better in ball screens in terms of hedging and blitzing and some of that, and we've gotten better at recognizing when we need to switch, when maybe it's not an automatic predetermined call. the organic piece of it that I think evolves and gets better as the season goes on because team players get more accustomed to playing with each other and when to, when not to. So it's a combination of everything, and I think, you know, the thing too is, you know, we want to make sure our strength is in numbers. As I mentioned, we don't have a legit shot blocker, and so we have to build our defense other ways, and it's through the strength in numbers, you know, and making sure we keep the lane. We don't want to give up stuff at our rim and try to keep the ball out of there as much as possible. So it's a combination of, you know, guys on the ball doing a good job. I thought today we were much better away from the ball when a ball screen was taking place. We exploded the ball screen and it got them, but we were loaded behind it. You know, we didn't give up things in the middle of the paint behind the action, the ball screen action, which as you heard me the other day, I thought at UCLA we were too spread out behind it, and today we were better.
Peter, Greg. Today was another really strong game from both John Tonje and John Blackwell. Curious, I'm curious about the value of having two guys who can score like most teams' top option, and how that makes things easier for you guys offensively.
Yeah, I think it's you know, a byproduct of having a team that can really score. You can't zero in on one or two guys because then Steve will get something going, Nolan will get stuff going, obviously Klez, and then we bring some pop off the bench too, different with Gilmore and McGee, and just they're opportunistic. And I think we don't come into it with a predetermined mindset that player A, B, or C has to get so many shots. It happens. You take what the defense gives you, and you try to put players in position of their strengths. And both Johns have done a good job of, you know, I thought Blackwell was a little loose with the ball in the first half. And we talked about that, and just tightening things up and knowing with how they play and how they sit a guy at the rim and rotate and trap and those things that, you know, first side, second side attacks weren't going to be there. We had to really distort the defense first, then you would have opportunities. And you know, they did a better job of that as the game we're on.
Go ahead.
You're in that kind of weird stretch of your schedule, 8 games, only 2 at home. Just having an older team like this, how helpful is it navigating this stretch, and how imperative does it make to kind of capitalize in when you are at home during this stretch?
Yeah, you know, I never make a big deal of home or road. We never have, going back I think that's why our consistency and our success, whether it's here or whether it's on the road, has been pretty good. Just, I don't make a big deal about going on the road. I don't make a big deal about playing at home. Its preparation is the same. We have a game plan. If you zero in on what you're supposed to be doing, what happens outside the lines doesn't matter, right? Whether it's crowd noise for you or against you, you still have to go play. So they understand our approach, and I think by staying consistent with that approach, it keeps them in a good frame of mind. So whether we went to the West Coast and played 2, could come back, now we go eat. We're flying around on a private chartered plane. We'll have some nice box meals for us, I'm sure, Tuesday afternoon when we fly to Maryland, stay in a good hotel. We're flying around playing basketball. This isn't, right? There's much more difficult things in life that you could be doing than changing time zones playing basketball. So I don't make a big deal out of it because I don't think it's a big deal. Go play. Where do they want us to play next? All right, we'll be there.
Jim?
Has John Tonje had to counter some of the things he's seen in regular teams throwing things at him, and has he done a pretty good job adjusting?
Yeah, I think first of all, he's played off 2 feet better. A couple times today, he got caught underneath our basket in the second half, but I thought the other part, it'll make life easier for him when we're really moving the ball. And again, first side, second side attacks, when we see a team that really loads to it and shades towards it, depending on how they play the wing ball screens, kind of determine what we run and how we attack it. But the other 4 guys really moving the ball around him puts him and let it come to him. Let him. He did a good job of that, I thought, today, for the most part, of not forcing it. Just let the offense work for you, and it'll find you. If you're moving, cutting, the ball finds energy. The ball finds people that are in the right spots. So just continue to play the game the right way, and you know, our team is the beneficiary of it, and he benefited of playing the right way today.
Go ahead.
Hey, Greg. It seemed like Max sat for a little bit longer than usual in the first half. When is that decision, and what, if anything, did you see differently from him in the second half?
Well, he tweaked his ankle, and he doesn't know how. He said it claims Casper the Ghost got him. He said, I didn't step on anybody, nobody was near me, I just made a pass, kind of. So I just let him and sat him and let him loosen up, and he got retaped at halftime, and then said he was good. So that's, if I could get to halftime and let him get retaped, we were okay.
We got Mark and then Michael for the final question.
As far as your bigs go, it seemed like they made a lot of, I mean, it shows in the assist total, but even if you're not looking at the assists, it seemed like your bigs made a lot of nice passes and plays. I guess I'm just wondering if you can kind of tell us what you saw from your bigs in that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I think, the one thing our sport doesn't have is like hockey, give the hockey assist, right? So you're only gonna get the assist if you make the direct pass to the scorer, but given how they play, defensively, come and trap the post and really load on the rim, the ability to, we want to play through Steve and Nolan, throw it in and Gilmore, and then make decisions out of there. And then we play 4-on-3, 3-on-2, whatever it is behind that. And, there was a couple, Steve threw a couple zingers, and we just tried to hit a home run instead of making the simple pass directly to the top, or a couple times we didn't have pressure on the rim with the cutter coming from the backside. So we intentionally wanted to throw it in and, draw help. The post, I've always said, is a good playmaking position. You don't always have to shoot it, but it really pulls the fire alarm of a defense when you throw it that close to the basket. And you got a 7-footer that makes good decisions. He can see over people, doesn't get rattled with it, and we need to do a better job in behind him. And we talked about that at halftime of just taking the easy escape route, and then I talk about the hockey assist. It's the one more. It's the out and then over, and then we attacked again, or out and over, and we shot threes. So again, the unselfishness of this group shows in those type of situations.
Michael,
You mentioned the team defense principle, strength in numbers. Is that something that you do by necessity, or would the presence of maybe a more lockdown, put a guy, change things?
I think you have to have, there's a lot of different ways to defend, and you have to build your defense based on your personnel, right? And for us, for 30-some years, maybe even more, it's been primarily the same defensive concept, even if you go back to when Dick was here. Impact line, squeeze, whatever you want to term, you want to throw on it, but it's, protecting your paint, and that starts with good ball pressure. And I watched Houston, Kansas last night, in that last 10 seconds when Houston put the press on. That's not us. Holy smokes. You talk about Kansas couldn't get the ball in bounds. They're built for that. They're recruited to that. We recruit based on who we are, where we are, all those type of things, to play a way that gives us the best chance to have success over the course of time. And so it's, we've had shot blockers here. Got one on my staff. He doesn't have any eligibility left. Steamer, Nate Reavers blocked a lot of shots. We've had other guys, but I think Nolan will be in time. That's not Steve's forte. It's got to be position defense. But then it just gives you another eraser, an extra mulligan, so to speak, behind. If somebody does get beat, you get somebody there. But I like the strength in numbers concept. I think over the course of time, it fits who we are and gives us the best chance to have success. And I think that's our job as a staff, is to put our players in the best position to have success. We go at you 94 feet, and probably wouldn't work in our favor. It's not how we're built. How we're built is what you saw today.
good question.
Good. All right.
Good answers.
All good. Thanks.